Across the tracks. It's time to go. Time to go. Across the tracks. Across the tracks. It's time to go. We're going across the tracks. We're across the tracks again with Ray Bonneville.
We didn't talk about. Are we live right now?
We are.
Oh, I don't think we talked about the matinee show on Sunday, did we? Are we going to?
We're going to.
Oh, we are right now.
We are right now. The process of editing, who knows?
Yeah,
it's going to show up at the end of this show, though. All the details.
Okay.
All right. We're going to talk about the record on the blind side here.
Yeah.
And we're just going to have a casual conversation.
Yep.
And somehow in there, we're going to blend in the tunes.
Yeah.
I want to start with the blind side because the last time you and I talked, you had just released it as a single.
Yeah.
And so between then and now, you've been on the road. And so you've had a chance to play it now many times live in front of a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in knowing how this song in particular, from the studio and putting it together, and now that it's been in front of an audience, what's the response, and does it take on its own
the response
life?
has been good, Adrian. I talk about the song a little bit before I play it. It's a personal song, but the difficulty in writing it was that it's personal to me, but I want it to be also for the listener. I'm all about the listener. I'm always writing for the person who will be listening. And, On the Blind Side is kind of the culmination of years and years of work that I've done shining the light inwardly to see what was making me tick. And it turns out that there was some stuff hiding on the blind side from my youth that was dogging me around the entire life, affecting my personal relationships. And I think a lot of people have these blind sides. I call them the blind side, but some people call them like an emotional shadow or what it is we can't see about ourselves. Sometimes others can see it in ourselves, but they have to be a pretty good friend to tell you.
Where a blade of sunlight falls back in time. I'm a kid with a slingshot and a jackknife. Under the weight of a fear dealer's faith, driving into a secret deeper every day on the blind side, on the blind side, deeper every day on the blind side. While the old man who would need forgiving trampled what love there might have been. I was telling myself I would come away clean. What was it I just couldn't see on the blind side, on the blind side? What couldn't I see on the blind side? Ma, she gave me took me down a lonesome two-lane. One for loving, one for turning away. My eyes getting used to the darkness. In time I see my own likeness. Still a kid, still afraid, still making sure love don't get close enough again to hurt on the blind side, on the blind side, close enough to hurt on the blind side.
You say that's personal, and you're talking personal. Thanks for that, sharing that. But your songs, I get that all the time when I hear it. Never Get the Love Thing Right is a song that I'm going to talk about right now, because that's, we've joked around a little bit, you and I, about that, because you seem to think you haven't got the love thing right. You're not a married man with a bunch of children, I guess.
You are?
I'm not either, but I want to know your story.
I'm not a married man with a bunch of children. I don't have any children.
I got the love thing right at my end. It came late, but
yeah. Well, you know, people say, is that you in those songs? Are you singing about yourself, or is that about yourself? I say, well, look, sometimes, most of the time, a song will start off with some part of you in it. Just the fact that you want to write it makes it some part of you. But when you get into writing the song, you find out one thing pretty quick. The truth is hard to rhyme.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it starts off with some degree of truth, and then it gets more and more into fiction as you need to make the song work. And so you want the words to rhyme, and you want the thing to... anyway, it's boring to talk about oneself all the time. This music is for everyone. I certainly don't write it for me.
No good road they put up on the levee, where time runs slow and the air is heavy.
lot of the writing that you do, have you had any songs that have turned into full-on movies, like a concept for a script?
A lot of them could be, but I haven't gone into that realm.
Yeah, a lot of your songs, I see movies. What are some of your favorite movies?
Oh, I like really dark movies. I like, Reservoir Dogs kind of movies. I like, I really, out of any art that I'm buying or witnessing or, consuming, I just want to believe it. I don't want to be bowled over. I just want to believe it, and by believing it, I'll go there. I'll go there with the writer or the producer or whatever, right? And I write these songs the same way.
Yeah, that song I'm alluding to is Nightcab, and so of course when you see Nightcab, you got to think of Taxi Driver.
Well, yeah.
You must have seen that. I'm thinking.
Well, I drove taxis in 3 different towns.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
I drove taxis, and when I got out of the military in the U.S., I was only 20 years old, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I took a job driving a taxi cab in Boston, and that's where I learned how to play the harmonica. Is in the taxi when there was no fare in the taxi. I'd be practicing like crazy in the cab on the cab stand, and then I drove checker cabs in New London, Connecticut. To pick up some extra dough, and then I drove taxi cabs in Anchorage, Alaska, the midnight shift from 11 to 7, the graveyard shift, and it was interesting. It's cold there, and there's no daytime, so it's always nighttime. When I was driving, the motor was never shut off. It was cold up there, but a lot of my traffic was Johns and prostitutes, Johns from the military bases around there, and the prostitutes, and it was it was pretty interesting conversation in the taxi with the fare.
I would think the characters that enter the cab become great material for some of your songs.
They can, and Nightcab, the song to which you are alluding, is the story of a affair gone a little bit getting a little out of hand. It's a dark song, and it's got it's dark music, and it's
well, the sun doesn't rise in Anchorage, so everything's dark. So that's where you came from.
Yeah.
Really?
I drove these taxis in these different towns, and I wasn't thinking about writing songs. I was just driving taxis to make so I got a roof over my head.
I picked him up on the main, wipers slapping at the rain. Something about him seemed off. I couldn't rightly say what he told me where to go. I pulled into the floor. He kept on checking behind until he was satisfied. I felt his stare on my neck, hair standing up on end. I turned around to get paid. I saw it tucked inside his waist, a well-worn, heavy piece. My first thought, the police. He said he needed someone to drive him from then on. He took my number down, said I'll see you around. I knew I'd made a mistake, but I thought to head for the south end, to a house he seemed to know. He checked it out real slow. We pulled over further down. He said this won't take long. Soon he came stumbling up, holding his sack, leaking blood. My knee was shaking on the clutch as I drove us off. He got out on the dark street, throwing two-C notes at me. In my throat, the taste of fear. I got myself away from there. I cleaned the car best I could, knowing it would do no good. Got wasted on a whiskey pint, trying to lose that night. Sometimes I lay awake, I'll never forget that face.
Let's go to another song. We're talking about the way it was before anyway, so I want to talk about this song.
Yeah.
And reliving the past and is the only way to get through some problems about writing the blues, singing the blues, but you have to revisit the blues. You have to get the way it was before. You have to visit that to expunge whatever bad memory it might be, because it seems to me like we don't go back to the way it was before. We hope for the good times, but something has come along to erase the good times. So
yeah, like a thing called life.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, the way it was before is just a simple song. It could be about a lot of different things, but the way I wrote it was that a person is speaking to his or her lover through a closed and locked door, and so this character is trying to make himself to be vulnerable and make himself to be honest and admitting to his mistakes, his or her mistakes, and asking, for an apology, making an apology, asking for forgiveness, and to make it the way it was before when things were going good.
Darling, I got something to say to you. I'm sorry I've gone and made you blue. Forgive me, please open the door and make it the way it was before. Nobody anywhere but you gets me like you do. More than anything
Can you tell me if the challenge for the writing and all of your is about the honesty? Is that always the core? Is that
Well, I mean, honesty. You can't really put the word honesty in what I've just said about the truth is hard to rhyme. It's honest. It's artistically honest.
right? Yeah,
It's
I get
not.
that.
It's not a person confessing to
Certainly.
their darkest secrets. It's artistically honest, and that's really all I ask for from art is for it to be artistically honest. In other words, the creator of the art really means this, and he's not fooling around, he or she.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the character is talking honestly, or the painting, or whatever it would be.
Yeah,
I get that part, but where I'm trying to get at really is you've been at it such a long time that does it become easy to find that note, that tone, or is that always a challenge, even more challenging because you've written so many songs? It's like, man, I'm going to repeat myself now. Or
Well, you know. I mean, a song that comes out of a certain era. If you repeat yourself, 5 years later or 10 years later, you're not really going to be repeating yourself because you're a different guy by then, and it's going to come out different. But I just want basically when I'm writing, I need to get out of my own way. I need to forget about Ray, and just
right.
and write viscerally. Write from the gut, so that it's not necessarily a pretty story. And if the thing wants to go dark on you, then you got to let it.
Well, all of this conversation is the lead up into Even with Time. You got any comment on that?
Well, even with Time, it used to be called. I wrote Even with Time in the '90s in Montreal, and I revived it for this album because I had a few songs. One of which was Even with Time. One was Lucky Moon, and the other one was The Way It Was Before. Those three songs were written, the core of them, in the '90s in Montreal in a little apartment I had there. But what did you ask me?
It's time to play the song. Even with Time, we're losing our minds.
Even with Time is a song about how they say time will heal everything and time will take care of everything. Well, this song says not really. I mean, some things you just can't get out of your mind, even with time.
She stood on easy in the slow moonlight. Her eyes telling the story of her life. Wordlessly, she moved me. I still relive that night. Some things you can get out of your mind, even with time. I gambled onwardly behind her. It don't come up rosy on every deal. If you go only by the way you feel, that's all she wrote in a torn away note, caught by the wind like a leaf. Some things you can't get out of your mind, even with time. Even with time.
What else you can't get out of your mind is in that streetcar, man. And he sees the pretty girl on the
Oh
streetcar.
yeah, Streetcar Man. Yeah.
Now that is a cool song too, and I'm guessing again you bounce around on tour. You've lived in so many cities, done a lot of interesting things. Do you go when you're in a town? Do you go walking around
Yes.
looking for things that might have songs in them?
Well, I mean, I live my life looking for songs. They can come out of a dream after you just woke up, if you could remember the doggone thing. They can come from anywhere. They can come from reading the news, watching a film, reading a book, talking to you, talking to just about anywhere. But the trick is you've got to write it down, or you got to make a note of it, or it's just gone.
Yeah.
It's just gone, like, in less than a minute. Gone forever. You can't even get it back. Say, what was that, man? Drive yourself crazy.
Were you on a streetcar for this song, or how this Streetcar Man?
Well, Streetcar is the character in the song is a guy like who is shy in life, and he's and he finds his thrills by imagining things, and it's not a dark song. It's a really kind of a love song. Kind of a love song, but not really, because he doesn't know this character, and she doesn't know him, and nor will she ever, because he's too afraid to say anything. He's just would rather just dream about it. So he's dreaming he's her streetcar man.
Streetcar lady, I'm a streetcar man, riding to work, doing the best I can. On rainy days I look for you to get on board the way you do, dreaming I'm your streetcar man. Is it in the way you move, the subtle hint of your perfume? Is it in your laughing eyes, or a secret that you hold inside? Dreaming I'm your streetcar man. Some things you never know, like a feeling that don't show, what you would not say out loud, what it is you dream about. Well, I'm gonna miss my stop, another dreamer who got lost. What is it you do to me? You're some kind of mystery. You might say that I'm a fool in a made-up story that's not true. When you step off and go your way, I'll look for you some rainy day, dreaming I'm your streetcar man, dreaming I'm your streetcar man.
Love it. What are, this is a sidebar, your favorite bars that you have played in whatever towns? Some places must stand out that you'd love going back there.
Well, you know, there are some that stand out really wonderfully, and other ones that stand out, like, for example, at the old Absinthe Bar on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. You'd get a gig there and you'd play every night for, until when they paid you, they said, well, there's a new band coming in tomorrow night, or whenever, right? So, I mean, that was the kind of thing where you had to, leave the stage and walk out among the audience and play the harmonica and sing, and just it's about entertaining the tourists, But there were some wonderful bars in New Orleans. I played at the Maple Leaf Bar. That was just the greatest. The vibe in that room were fantastic. And, I played the Cosmos Bar, and I played old Storyville Bar. I played the Park Street Tavern, and I played all over New Orleans. But I've played all over the world, really. Mm-hmm. I haven't been to some countries, but and bars, bars are. Before I started writing music and songs and recording them, I was playing in nothing but bars. And back then, the bars were smoky, and the bars were, it was just kind of like a university for me of life. And it's where I developed these grooves that I have on the guitar today. They come from those years of relentlessly playing these kind of joints. And some of them were dangerous, and some of them were just, Well,
it shows up in the music. And I'm really curious that you brought up New Orleans, because whenever I hear a song with Moon in it, like Lucky Moon, I, for whatever reason, think about New Orleans all the time.
Oh, yeah? Why? Were you in New Orleans and the big moon came up?
Well, it's called the Crescent City.
Oh, the Crescent City, yeah.
Yeah.
It's also called the Big Easy.
It's called the Big Easy. And for whatever reason, I can't really explain it. I haven't really thought of it. I just make that connection. And so when I was going to talk about Lucky Moon, I thought, well, I wonder, he must have played some places. And when you write a Moon song, and you bring up New Orleans, so that's just interesting to me. That's what I
see.
think.
Yeah, because that's what speaks to you.
Yeah, it does. I don't know why the Moon does, but...
Well, the Moon is... It's like I say in the song, you can change the tide, and you live in poetry. You come around at night like some mystery, like it's always been a catalyst for emotion for some reason. Because A, it's so pretty, and B, it's so mysterious. Even though man has been there now, it's still, the dark side of the moon and all that comes with that, and and the werewolf.
There you go. And I've been in the French Quarter, and I've had the absinthe and looked at the moon. So Lucky Moon's always going to be that song for me.
Well, this guy in this song, he's he just wants his girlfriend back, and he's a little bit like the guy in The Way It Was Before, but he doesn't think there's that much to do. Just a little nudge from the moon will take care of it.
Lucky moon looking down at me. It's good to see your face. I've been waiting patiently with the lovesick blues all day. Well, you shine into don't go behind that cloud. She could be looking up right now. Lucky moon, I'm asking you. You changed the tide and live in poetry. Come around at night like a mystery. I might be crazy praying to you this way. She makes everything to me. A lucky moon, if you please. When you're full like you are tonight, there's a feeling in the air, one that says it's alright. I will help you to see clear. That is all I really need. Please send her back to me. Lucky moon, I'm asking you. Lucky moon, I'm asking you. Lucky moon.
All right, man. Your music is also comfortable. It's like it's like your favorite pair of jeans or your favorite sweater.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you must hear something along those lines from your fans.
Well, that's a wonderful thing to hear, really, because, you know, I mean, I want to be comfortable when I hear music or when I watch a film, and when I want to feel comfortable, and I want to feel. I mean, it's not. Some of the subjects in these songs are not comfortable. Like Nightcab is, you know, kind of about a mobster, really, or a hitman or something, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know. I can only tell you that it makes me happy to hear you say that, because when I'm in the studio and when I'm listening to playback, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that. I want the tension to be there, but I also want it to feel like a lazy boy recliner that you can just sit in and listen and be in the song.
Yeah, and your albums all one after another. I know they're going to be great. It's just the way it is. It's just,
well, you
there's
know,
no misses
that
here.
might come from the fact that I didn't record for the first 20 some odd years of my playing career, and then that part of that might have to do with something to do with the fact that English is not my first language. I think I had to, in retrospect, I had to just go there, you know. I lost my train of thought for a second.
Well, I'm gonna put you back on the tracks because we're across the tracks, and the night is long.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk to you about what can you say about that? I was talking about.
Oh, we were talking about comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the night is long. Again, is one of those songs where it hits me that, and that's the second song on the album. And so the first one you hear it and you're like, okay, that's Ray, and then that one comes out and boom, I'm back in my comfortable jeans now.
Oh, yeah.
And so the night is long, and all of the songs you wrote. But just give me something about that song.
The night is long.
Yeah.
The night is long is it. I wrote it very fast. I was in Memphis and I had needed another song, and I started fooling around with it, and I wrote the verses. There's 3 characters in the song. Each verse has a character. You know, the first character is Charlene, whose name I took from this really strange woman I met on the trail where I hike in Austin. Her name just stuck with me anyway. She got into the song, and then Cousin Jean done time upstate. That's another fictional character, but I have played prisons. I've played maximum security prisons, and I know some of those guys, and I know what it's like in there. And so, these are all characters that are realizing that the night is long. And then at the end, it's the character is the narrator of the song who finds an old lamp. And when he turns it down, he sees an old love in the glow, So it's very simple song, very, very simple, but I like it.
Charlene goes to bed at dawn. She had a man, but he up and gone. She puts on a dress he said he liked, checks herself under the light. Oh, the night is long, so long. Who's gonna love you when the sun goes down? Oh, the night is long. Cousin Jean done time upstate, etched a mean look on his face. Never couldn't get no sleep in there, desperation everywhere. Oh, the night is long, so long. Who's gonna love you when the sun goes down? Oh, the night is long. I went to the market Saturday, found an old lamp on the way. I turned it down far as it would go. I thought I saw you in the glow. Oh, the night is long, so long. Who's gonna love you when the sun goes down? Oh, the night is long. Who's gonna love you when the sun goes down? Oh, the night is long.
I like it too. Again, no surprise there. It brings us down to one last song here. I want to thank you for doing this again.
Hey, this is really, really fun talking to you about this.
Yeah.
About this.
And, it's so cool that you have made yourself a home here in Algoma Country.
Oh, made yourself a home, yeah.
Here in
I've made myself a home here. I've been here 4 or 5 years now, up at my camp on Lake Superior. And, the guy in this song, he keeps thinking about this person, and so he keeps thinking of her as being home when she's being thought of in his mind. You've made yourself a home, and in other words, he can't get her out of his mind. So she always lives in his mind. So she's home, But it's a kind of a lighthearted song, really. It's not a heavy song.
Well, it depends on who's listening and where they are, because a lot of people are, the expression in sports is, "You're living rent free in my head," and they can't get you out.
Oh,
right?
yeah. That there is that. But in this song, I think the listener will decide what vibe it is, which is the case with all of my songs.
Yeah.
The listener decides.
I looked for you a while ago, all through the city floor. Strange how you disappeared without a trace of tooth in there. You made yourself a home in my mind. You made yourself a home in my mind. I saw a film the other night. I stayed still the whole time. A story of love that turned out good, the way it does if you knock on wood. You made a home in my mind. You made yourself a home in my mind. Oh, what is it about you? Something I may never know. Oh, what is it about you? Round and round my head you go. A street poet was shouting a verse. I kept going, never caught a word. I was dwelling on your beauty and grace, well beyond any familiar place. My shoelace come undone up on me. I reached down to tie it again. I thought I felt you crossing the street. When I looked up, you were nowhere to be seen. You made yourself a home in my mind. You made yourself a home in my mind.
I consider you my friend, Ray, and I'm glad you've made yourself a home here.
Yeah.
Your music has made a home on the airwaves here, on the borderline. And yeah, thanks so much. Merci.
Well, thank you, Adrian, and it's always really nice to talk to you on the air, because it's not like a bunch of questions and answers. It's more like two guys shooting the breeze, and that's, to me, that's what makes a compelling interview, and I really appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We've gone across the tracks. This has been a Borderline Entertainment production. All right, and we have not forgotten. Sunday, October 22nd, at the LOFT, Blackfly Jam and Algoma Conservatory Concerts present Ray Bonneville, a brand new music matinee. Doors open at 2 o'clock. It is a licensed event. Delicious appetizers will be available. All ages are welcome and encouraged. That is Sunday, October 22nd, at the LOFT, 2 o'clock p.m., doors open. Tickets available at algomaconservatory.com. And here's a little bonus coverage. Ray talking the band and production. Thanks for listening.
The production is a vibe, really, and it doesn't come from. I mean, I've produced other people's records, and the way to do that, in my humble opinion, is to help the artist make their record, not the producer's record. But they're all different because there's new gear. I don't always play the same stuff, the same gear, the same amps, same guitars, and the people I surround myself with are always different. although on this record, Richie Lawrence is on it on 3 songs, the keyboard, my friend and keyboardist. But really, it's a record that shines on Will Sexton. Will Sexton is playing a very melodic bass in this album, and also playing all those colorful guitar things. And so it was basically myself, Will, Richie did it as overdubs. And in the studio, I had a couple, 2 or 3 different drummers. You know, I had one in Memphis, and I had a couple different ones in Austin. But you know, every time I make a record, I when I get done with it and I call it done and I sign off on it and it goes off to the factory, I'm basically insecure about that record, and I'm going to be for probably a year or so, just because, you know, I'm not always dead sure of myself.